Yo, what's up, YouTube land, social media outlets, wherever you're watching this podcast? Welcome to season 2 of the Ramble West.
Woo!
This is my comfort zone.
Yeah.
This is my world. This is my brainchild. People often wonder, how do I say the things I say? Why do I say the things I say? To my left and my right, you're going to see where these things sometimes come from. Before we go there, that was in season 1 at a different location, but now in season 2, we're in a brand new spot here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, called Simply Sonya's. And actually, we're going to bring one of their bartenders over to give us one of their premium drinks. I'm very excited to see what it's about, so we all going to try it together.
Absolutely.
Their bartender Joy is on the way now with their drink, and let's see what it's about. Oh, it's nice and bright. That's a
Okay,
big
that's
glass.
pretty.
Nice.
I know them are some big
That's
glasses.
a really big glass.
Yes.
I don't
You
know.
allergic? What?
Tell us what is in the drink.
Yes.
So in the Simply Sonya, it's the rock, pineapple juice, simple syrup, and lemon juice. But if you want to spice it up a little bit, like my friend right here, she got tequila instead of the rock. And, you know, I'm a tequila girl, so I know it's pop.
Okay.
Well, spice up grandma's because she don't do pineapple.
Put some orange juice.
Go,
She
run,
needs some
run,
orange
run.
juice.
Just go, go. So let me tell you what I call.
Yeah, get it right.
Tara is the baddest grandmother I know. Like, I remember the first time she said she's a grandma, we was like, Grandma, where? We don't understand, we don't see it. But me and Tara go back sometime now from an organization that we fellowship and worship at. Amen. And we've been friends ever since. Plus, we're in the industry together. So that's her connection. So please welcome her to season 2.
Yes.
To my left was Josh. Josh is actually my little
Jay
brother.
Lee.
I met Josh when he was a freshman in college. Sophomore. So back to Richard's comment about getting bullied, though. Why do you feel we bullied you?
Talk about
First
it.
off, I was just joking. But
Nah, he's not that way.
highlighted, but you know, it was my fault. I just wanted to defend fucking with Jesus and Kamala Harris at the time. That's what I wanted to defend. So outside of that, we didn't. I mean, you remember I didn't participate in the. We had a heated.
All right, so Richard's comment about feeling bullied. That's a reach, okay? Richard feels bullied because Richard put himself out there, and I don't think he really knew what was going to come back to him. I think Richard's brand is to be, shock and awe. Say the things that are not being said. Be the opinion that people will feel shouldn't be in the room. And if you're going to be that bold, you also have to be equally bold to be able to take what's going to come back. So he wasn't bullied. Richard was just being Richard, and, now you're on a new platform. And now more Richard is coming to Richard. It's just your turn.
Just for the record, there was no point during last season that I felt bullied. Jamie's really a nice person. A little assaultive, but nice nonetheless.
So you felt bullied in the confessionals?
No.
Oh.
No, not in real life. In real life, it just was, they had more opinions than I put up in the green screen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It's really a thing. But it's funny to say it to Jamie because it triggers her.
Well, since you brought up the Intimate with Jesus comment, how or what have you heard in response to that since you made that comment? If any.
Yeah, the funny thing is I haven't really heard anything because people who know me and have watched it know that it wasn't like the first time I started saying it. It's been, years coming. I stand on that. So for everybody else, it was just like, yo. But, the few things that I did hear were, man, I never thought about it like that. There were those people who were like, hey, you're, sacrilegious, or like I was defaming or disrespecting the church. So I get those, and I respect that. I just didn't respond to them. But, yeah.
Did anybody else get any responses or anything from it?
No. Didn't.
Hey, y'all want to go ahead and take a sip?
Yeah, I knew you was coming next. Jamie, I know it. Listen to me. I hate to rehash the I air quote F with Jesus conversation. I think it's almost diabolical how that sentence can be so polarizing when, in my mind, it's really about a group of people uncomfortable with transparency and authenticity. Yes, the conversation got brought up again, but it was almost like I challenged other people's beliefs in Christ. First, that wasn't my intent. Second, though, if we're being honest with ourselves in our quiet time or in the shower by ourselves, that person that we are alone is who we actually are. I'm just unwilling to act like I'm something else in front of any group of people. The way I talk to each one of the individuals on this podcast is how I talk to everybody else in the world. The way I communicate and deal with people and the way I rep for Jesus is how I stand everywhere at any moment. I think it is scary for people sometimes to be presented with a challenge to what they believe to be authentic.
Okay, so I actually saw season 1, and Richard's remarks around effing with Jesus, I respect the concept, but the people that I watched it with, they wasn't having it. They was like, well, how you gonna put those two together? Like if you effing with Jesus, that means y'all intimate. Like, you know, how deep you going? So again, like I respect the concept because I totally get it. Like we locked in. I would probably word that a little differently though.
All right, so hopping into it, I definitely went through a lot of the questions and comments from season 1, and a lot of people wanted us to go back to some of the things that we didn't really define. One of the questions, well, a lot of the questions were the same. So a lot of people wanted to know from us. We talked about love, and O'Shea brought up that she really did love is fake. But a lot of people brought up the question of what is love? Like, what is your actual definition of love?
I have 2 definitions of love. I'm a believer in Jesus. So my first definition is always going to go back to the Bible where, the word talks about God is love. Okay. I won't unpack that for the sake of the conversation, but that's definition number 1. I would say number 2, on a more personal level, love to me is sacrifice. What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to change? What are you willing to do that's inconvenient for a person, for a thing, in whatever context that makes sense to you. That would be my definition.
I agree.
Okay. O'Shea?
I just think love should be genuine. That's what I have to say.
All right, Dre?
I think love is a product of your environment, so to speak. So the definition of love is skewed based on how you were shown. But Bible tells you that love is kind, love is pure, unjust, because within love there's good and bad. But I think it's genuinely knowing your heart versus your mind. That's love.
Okay. Tara?
So the first thing I was going to say to you is God is love. That's really my description, my go-to. Because just like it said in the Bible, it lists off the attributes of God and His love. So without going all the way into that with the scripture, love is definitely an action. Yes, we can say I love you all the time, but I have found and seen love more in action than what someone just saying a word. So it's an action. Your actions.
Okay.
Our love is, I love I love the idea of what we're talking about, but we're not giving actual definitions, man. Love is choices. Love is freedom.
Yeah.
Love is strength. Love is not defined by actual specific actions because the action can change. Man, I can love you by slapping you because you being stupid, or I can love you by hugging you because you need that.
I mean, that's
Love
real.
is freedom, and love is actually God.
That's real love.
And to talk about love is to talk about God, or to just be talking shit.
Well, love is the decision of acceptance.
That's good.
And I think it's a daily decision. It's to step into a level of like unconditional love. It's always comes down to a decision of acceptance. And I think it goes back to that action, though.
Can I jump in? Mm-hmm. So I would have to say, in my I definitely disagree with part of what you're saying.
I love disagreeers.
Love is still definitely an action. And even though the actions of your love might change, love is not anything that changes. If it changes, it was never love. Like you said, from the start, it's going to be love. The motivation, the intent behind what I'm doing is going to be love. My action might be in a correction. My action might be in, hey, I need to set a boundary. My action might be in showering you with you. So what I presume, I guess, is love or how I love a person, but love is not going to change. The actions can, but love does not.
And to kind of piggyback on that before you answer, I kind of want you to explain better, because this is the second time you use the example of if I slap you, that might mean I love you. I need you to explain that a little more so that what we're not walking away from is that abuse is a form of love.
I get that.
Because you're not really, I don't know what you mean, so I want you to explain that a little more.
So, we can't get off, real easy with love. Just calling it an action, right? Any verb is an action, right? If it's a verb, it's an action. But love, if we're talking about God, and for those of us in the setting who stand on the fact that they believe love through a Christ-like perspective, means it is an action that is a reflection of my heart's intent, right? And if my heart's intent is the best for you, sometimes that can look a little bit different. You know what I mean? Like sometimes, it's a cussing out.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a conversation. I know Wesley loves me because some shit he done said to me. It's uncomfortable. But just being in action again, it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, but slapping me as a part of that action does not convey love.
Depending on what you're doing.
Slapping me in that action lets me know you're ready to get your ass beat. Because to put your hands on me is not, for me, it's not love.
I think
You know what I'm saying?
I think the slapping might have just been like an exaggeration. Like that's just
Yeah,
like
it was
a, that's what I'm
exaggerated.
saying.
But I can give an example
But yeah,
of why
but-
slapping
Let's
me.
go back to that nigga slap me. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
because-
saying? That's an exaggeration.
See, that, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. Jamie to the rescue. Jamie to the rescue.
Jamie the translator, case in point one, okay? Sometimes they get my boy, Richard, man, he's so misunderstood. You know what I'm saying? Gotta be, Jamie the translator for my boy, because he was just taking it there so that people could see the extremities.
So, okay, for clarity, the reason why I wanted Richard to clean up the comment about the hitting is because, like, now we're in season 2, and that's the second time that's been a reference point, is about, somebody been slapped, or my mama may slap me, or this, that, to the third. Okay, so let's define some things. Discipline in the form of, whooping or whatever that parent does towards a child is a form of love between a parent and a child, okay? That doesn't work, though, in a relationship between mates. Putting your hands on me is going to send me somewhere, and it's going to send you somewhere. Matter of fact, if you ever plan on hitting me, you might as well call 911 and practice falling down and getting up, because that's what you're going to be doing. Because there's no reason to put your hands on somebody and you're in a loving relationship There's no reason for it, male or female. Like that's just crazy. And if you're in a relationship where abuse is taking place, you need to call somebody. Matter of fact, let's get one of them numbers. Just put it right down here at the bottom. 1-800 beat his ass. Like something, because that is crazy. In 2025 to still be beating on women and women beating on men. Like, keep your hands to yourself if it is not in a flirtatious and sexual manner. You know, like if he or she got the big choke, by all means, choke and stroke. But anything past that, you need to keep your hands in your pocket. You know, I have this saying, you know, feel mad, feel glad, feel sad, feel whatever you need to feel, but you need to feel it in your seat. Don't get up.
Now, I will say, in Richard's defense, I think he was really just trying to use, as he said in his own words, an exaggerated example, but it was just kind of the wrong type of example to get us to where we were trying to go with this question.
We talk about like, hey, if I was getting ready to, in an exaggerated example, if I was getting ready to touch a hot stove and my mama slapped my hand, she wasn't abusing me.
Okay.
She was giving me an example of pain to prevent me from making bad choices.
That's real.
That's
That's
actual
real.
love.
That's
And I may not like it and I may have
That's my
cried
mama.
about it, but that's actual love, and it doesn't come with making me feel good.
Yeah.
Love does not make niggas feel good. Love is about choices. Yeah, her action was slapping me though.
Yeah.
And it's up to the receiver to define it. And the truth is, if we take 20 years, the things that we look back 20 years ago, all of us are old enough to say, 20 years ago, there's some things I cried about and I was hurt about, that I look back and I say, man, that was actual love. I wish I would have received it better because I would have made better choices. I would have done things different.
But I don't see where that's not action.
No, it is still action. I'm saying all action is in love.
Of course not, no.
So we can't define it as just an action.
Because that's my definition.
So all action is love?
Period.
So all action is love. That's what you just said.
But what I said is love is action. So you can be hateful or hate me and have actions that, you know, are motivated by that hate. So that action is going to show me that you hate me and you don't care for me. But if your intention was love, it's always going to stem from and create an action that is love. So yes, love is correction. I have 4 children. They know from every ounce of my, because if we want to talk about slapping and everything else, they done been slapped, but they know from beginning to end, whether they agreed with it, whether they were mature enough to understand it at that point or not. They can look back at all my children and say that they love me, because love is an action, like the sacrifice I have made.
So we just are starting the episode, and this young lady decides to agree with me partially, but disagree. Then go on to say everything I said in a stance of agreement. She just wanted beef, y'all. She wanted war. I got her though.
And those are different loves, because
Yeah.
the love from my mama slapping me in the sense of discipline should not come from my mate.
Yeah.
A mate slapping me as discipline, again, is grounds to get your ass beat.
Yeah, but I think
but
that, let me go ahead and save you real quick. Let me save you real quick. Let me just cover the whole situation real quick. I think what Richard was trying to do was just kind of dive into the complexity of love. Sometimes we cover love and just say, God is love because it's easy, but there's a complexity that comes with love. There's the up and down and the all around, the good and the bad and the ugly of love. And so I think that's what Richard was just trying to.
Oh boy, let me say this real candidly. If you have to have somebody else interpret your thoughts and communicate on your behalf, that ain't a good look, Doc.
So I use the example of how love can be a lot of different things, and I use a slap as an example. It is so amazing to me when people are so ready to disagree that they become kind of hyperbolic about the words you say. We focused on the fact that I said slap, when all I was doing was disagreeing with the fact that love is simply a choice. That doesn't define love. Love is a choice that's on purpose, right? A choice that's intentional, that says, hey, I care, or I have, ultimate concern for you. It is just irritating to me that no matter what I say, and I've only said 2 things at this point, this girl who I just met this day is disagreeing. It don't matter what come out my mouth, she disagreeing. I'm frustrated.
And it all goes back, yeah, and
when you look at God, but people look at even God a different way. Some people will say he's not God.
Absolutely.
Some people will say Jesus is not God. So we can't say that it is indefinitely this.
Yeah.
We're just giving what our views, and this is how I see love, because I'm going to take it from the source of which I take everything.
Yeah.
And then to add on, I'm going to stop on this, is there are levels of love. So there's immature love, and then there's maturity love.
Yeah.
So you're going to see things differently with your maturity level.
As far as my definition of love and where I stand after the whole fall down, I'm standing on my business. Okay, I said what I said. Love is a decision of acceptance, to accept whatever the situation is, whoever the person is, and that any action, reaction, response come from that decision to accept whatever it is, to love that person. That is acceptance. Just like if we're gonna say God is love, God accepts us in whatever, unconditionally. So my definition of love is that decision of acceptance.
So now, this what is love question was actually a question I believe that was in my inbox, honestly, at least 12 times. About 7 of those times, it was like a solid, just that, what is love? And then the other few times, it was kind of incorporated with some other commentary where they were saying, we needed to define love. So Josh's explanation of, I believe in Jesus, so God is love. And then O'Shea's comment was, I just believe that love is genuine. Both good answers. And I believe as the time goes, we're going to hear from everybody else that, God is love, God is love, God is love. Not shading that, not dismissing that. And God is love. Let's be clear. Let's also be clear, though, that everybody's love for God is also not right. It's not the same. Some of us, we don't really be in love with God. We date God. God meets our needs in that moment. And when that need is met, we forget to call him up. We're dating God. And that shows up in our personal life with our relationship with most people. I tell folk all the time, like, we are supernatural beings because we are created by a supernatural being. So you can't deal and respect one without dealing and respecting the other. So I can tell by somebody's love and their energy towards people, it ain't gonna be too far different from their energy and love towards God. So that whole God is love blanket, we kind of need to just put that back in the closet. Because we really starting to show our cards, especially in this circle, especially when we say things like we F with God's son.
I'd like to hear from Josh real quick.
I would say one thing that is universal outside of the context of love in its defined and undefined form is in a form of action is sacrifice. So most people can say, ooh, if this hurts me to give, if this hurts me to pay for, if this hurts me to bring correction, I'm not doing it because it brings me personal gratification or makes me feel good. I'm doing this because this action I have an option to do, but this action that I'm willing to say, I'm willing to have a conversation, I'm willing to correct, has a level of sacrifice that to me is universal. Most people, globally speaking, can say, ooh, if this hurts me to do this, I'm not gonna do it. Because I'm selfish, I'm self-centered, it's inconvenient. Yeah. But in the context of love in a sacrificial form, which from my definition does come from, some context in the word, But in the universal form of sacrificing and giving and doing certain things that doesn't bring you self-gratification, to me is a level of love that most people can understand and resonate with.
Relate to, yeah, that's real.
I just think that all of us agree on one point, and that is that God is love, right?
Yeah.
So if I say God is love, I have to agree that all of God's movements are love.
Yes.
So God ain't ever slapped a nigga.
Yes,
We're not talking about love, and I don't want to limit love to like sexual intimacy relationships.
Right.
I'm saying actual love is when my baby is acting up and I snatch her up. Or like hard conversations. Love is about choice and freedom and communicating information with full knowledge that it may not be reciprocated. We say God is love. That is like our biblical or theological push for that is saying God said you don't have to deal. I'm avoiding the fuck word.
So well.
See, look
Richard, you all said Nah, Richard, don't try to keep it cute now. What was that? Fuck what? What? Okay.
You don't have to deal with me. You don't have to love with me. You don't have to believe in me. You don't have to choose me. But I love you and I sacrifice my life for you. That's love.
That's sacrifice.
Yeah, but anything else actually doesn't really make sense. I'm not saying to me. The first point was all of us agreed that God is love.
But now I disagree on what you just said.
I get that, but I'm using your words.
No, you're not.
If God is love, I get it. You want to argue? You're new. God is love, right? If God is love, then define God.
Love.
That's what I'm saying. That's circles. That's for foolish people.
Well.
Not that you're foolish. I'm saying that's a foolish theology.
It says he would use the foolish things of the world to confine the wise.
The minds of the wise.
So I'm not worried about it. And it says the foolish things are God.
That's what it said.
Are also wiser than the wisest man. So just because you have not opened your mind or felt it in that manner or understand it in that manner does not mean that it has to be the same way for me. That's all I'm trying to come back to.
I just feel like God is not different. No, right?
He's not different.
He ain't
is
changed.
and he has never changed. And that's why I said that's why I take my source of everything I'm going to look at and depict as love as that.
I think we should take another drink.
Thought that
maybe
If God is actually love, though.
or something.
If God is actually
Yes, I think it is time for a little drinky drink because that right there, we need to simmer that one down just a little bit.
What makes no sense is anything that's really coming out of Richard's mouth at this point. It's just going in circles. I really feel like he needs some deep therapy sessions or some quiet time with the Lord. I don't know. I was just really baffled.
love, then our lens in which we see love is not our trauma. It's not our experience. It's not our kids. It ain't our past relationships.
Nobody said anything about trauma though.
Oh no, but all of our comments, we can say it ain't our trauma, but all of our comments are based on our information, our experience, not actually what God is. If we base it on actually what God is, it means that, he built somebody for Adam. He also killed 4,000 niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, all those things are true and all those things are love.
Here's something.
In context, the right way, they are actually love.
But here's
And we're acting
something.
like it's not true.
Well, let's wait.
Because we want to feel good.
Well, hold on.
Yes, sir.
Let's wait. Because here's something that I'm finding interesting. Is that can be your definition of love in which you are passionate in explaining about. However, I just want to go back to season 1 when you reference to God's child as you echo Jesus, which actually shows a lesser level of reverence for his son, but you can still claim that you love God.
Whoa.
Would you like a response to that, or you want somebody else to answer first?
No, please go. I want to hear it. I want to hear
So
this.
again, same way I defined it earlier. Last season. This is really important, man. We work and live every day with actual people, man. Like, niggas is going to work every day dealing with baby mamas or baby daddies and bills and all those things, right? And I mean, however we think of God, we know he's all knowing and he sees in your heart and your mind. And the best effort you have for the person next to you is to say, bro, I fuck with you. You a real nigga. You a good nigga, a good man. And so you telling me the best thing I have for God is to say I love Jesus? To me, that's pretending. The best thing, look, the best person on God to me right now, outside of, some female, DeMarco Odom is my best friend. That man has done more for me than any person in the world right now living. So I speak on his name like I fuck with that nigga. And when I say it, don't nobody feel like miscommunicated with. Everybody understand what I mean when I say it. I ain't gotta say some other stuff like, man, I know him, I know his parents, his mom and them, I know his brothers, No, I ain't gotta say none of that, because I said it with my words. So when I'm running around talking about, man, I love the Lord, that's actually pretty fake. If Jesus actually,
you don't gotta say it like that.
Just let me finish real quick. It's 3 seconds. I'm saying it's not fake if that's actually how I communicate in regular life.
Yeah, okay.
But you just contradict.
But if I don't communicate like that in regular life,
let me save you.
If I'm tailoring my conversation and my intent with my words to make other people feel good about what it says, I'm actually faking for the one nigga who hear everything I'm saying. And my best compliment for Jesus is that I fuck with him.
Okay, so I'm still lost.